Alright, the first thing you want to do before you get started is make sure the controller you have has the correct program loaded in it for whatever car you're working on. Also for this car, an X3 M40i, you should have the controller that has the flat bottom. Once you've confirmed that, the next thing you need to do is we're just going to remove the engine cover, this plastic engine cover, from the top of the engine. It comes off very simply by just pulling up on the corners and popping off the little clips, and out it comes. Okay, once you've confirmed that you have the correct box with the correct program, we're going to get started by actually mounting the controller in the car. We're going to mount this controller on this piece of plastic right above the DME, right here on this spot. To do that, the first thing we need to do is to stick on the dual lock that should have come with your kit. There should be 4 small pieces of dual lock that look like this. Now the easiest way to do this is to take, drop out of the shot there for just a second, each piece of dual lock, peel the adhesive backing off, or the cover on the adhesive backing. You want to stick one piece of dual lock to the bottom of the controller like that. The second piece is going to go sort of centered on the controller box just above the first one. Alright, once you have stuck the first two pieces of dual lock to the back of the performance controller, like I've shown here, the next step is to take the other 2 pieces of dual lock, leave the tape over the adhesive back on the dual lock for now, and actually dual lock them to the pieces on the box. This assures that they're lined up when you stick it to the cover. After you've done that, you can peel off the cover tape. It's exposing the adhesive, and then we want to take the box, just center it right over this pad on the plastic cover above the DME, place it right over that, and stick it down. Alright, once you have got the controller attached to the DME cover, the next thing we want to do is start making our harness connections. We're going to start with the connection to the controller itself. To do that on this car, we first want to run the big plug under these wires, the output wires from the DME. Then we want to slide the clip back and pull out the bypass plug, set that aside. Then take the plug, slide it onto the end of the controller, and then push the clip in, and it'll draw the plug into the box. Okay, once you've made the connection at the controller itself, we then want to make our sensor connections on the engine. You'll notice that the harness has 3 pigtails labeled A, B, and C. A is going to connect to the map sensor right here on the intake tube, the front of the engine. The B pigtail is going to connect to this map sensor right here on top of the intake manifold, and the C pigtail is going to connect to this sensor here, which is the cam sensor on the front of the cylinder head. Okay, we're going to start by making our A connection, and that's going to be made to this map sensor right here that's located on top of the intake tube just before it goes into the throttle body. First thing we want to do is unclip the little clip right on here on the stock harness plug, which just should pop back like that. I'm using a little pick here, a little pocket screwdriver will work just as well. And then squeeze the clip and pop the plug off the sensor. Sometimes you got to kind of slide your pick under that end to lift the lock up. Once you've got the stock plug off, you can simply plug that directly into the female plug on the A pigtail, like that. The male plug on the A pigtail then gets plugged directly into the sensor where you unplugged the stock harness earlier. Once everything's plugged in, don't forget to set the locks, and we can move on to map sensor B. Okay, next we're going to make map sensor connection B using pigtail B. The B map sensor is this one right here, located just on the inside upper edge of the intake manifold. The connection is made the same way you did connection A. Take your pick or your pocket screwdriver, pop the lock back, then squeeze the lock and slide the plug off of the sensor. This plug goes into the female socket on the pigtail, like that. And you can set the lock now if you want. The male pigtail plug plugs into the map sensor where we unplugged the stock harness just a second ago. Set that lock and you're done, and we can move on to connection C. All right, our final connection number C today, will be on the cam sensor, which is located right here on the front of the cylinder head, just ahead of this coil. The connection, again, is the same as all the connections. We pop up the little white lock tab, squeeze that lock tab, and pull the plug off. This plug goes into the female harness end, like that. The male end of the harness then plugs into the sensor where the stock plug used to go. Set your locks, and all your connections are made. All right, once you've made all your sensor connections, you can add a few zip ties to hold everything in place. Pigtail B can kind of get tucked down between the intake manifold and the valve cover. Also, you're probably going to want to zip tie the 3 pigtails as they come out of the box to the intake tube here, just to keep them from flapping around in the front of the motor here, because there is a fan located on the back of the radiator right here. Once you've got all your zip ties in place, you can put the engine cover back on and you're done.